I never thought I'd be telling this story. Not to anyone. Not even to myself. But the truth has a way of clawing its way out, even when you try to bury it deep. Looking back, it all started with a single knock on my door, one that changed everything. At that moment, I was 3 months behind on rent. My fridge was nearly empty, my phone filled with unanswered calls from the utility company, and my pride barely holding me together. I had tried everything: overtime shifts, cutting corners, even swallowing my pride to ask for help from people who'd already turned me away. I was out of options, and I knew it. So when the knock came, I froze. I already knew who it was. Mr. Harris, my landlord. I pulled my robe tight around me, but it was already slipping off my shoulder, revealing more than I wanted him to see. My heart pounded as I opened the door, and there he stood, tall and deliberate, his eyes tracing me in a way that made my skin prickle. "You're 3 months behind, Julia," he said, his voice calm but edged with something darker. I swallowed. "I know. I just need a little more time." He stepped inside before I could stop him, closing the door quietly behind him. "It's a shame," he murmured, his gaze steady. "A woman like you, struggling like this. So beautiful. So helpless." My pride burned. "I'll figure something out." But he only shook his head, a small smirk tugging at his lips. "Time doesn't pay the bills, sweetheart." The way he said it made my stomach twist. I backed up a step as he came closer. "Maybe there's another way." I knew what he meant before he even said it. I should have thrown him out right then, but instead, I froze. My desperation was written all over my face, and he could see it. "I can make your problems disappear," he said softly, leaning closer. "No one has to know. Just between us." Every part of me screamed that this was wrong, but I also knew I had nowhere else to turn. My chest tightened as I gave a small, reluctant nod. His smile deepened, satisfied. Good girl. That night with him changed everything. What began as a deal, a compromise, turned into something I hadn't expected. I told myself it was survival, but the truth was more complicated. His touch had stirred something inside me I didn't want to admit. Afterward, as I sat with my robe pulled tightly around me, shame and confusion twisting in my chest, Mr. Harris studied me with a knowing smile. "Didn't expect you to enjoy it that much," he said. "It was just a deal," I whispered. "Sure," he said, amused. "If that's what you need to believe." I thought that was the end of it. But it wasn't. Because that's when he made another proposition, one that would pull me even deeper. "There are men," he said casually, "who'd pay good money for a woman like you." I froze, my heart hammering. "You're joking." He shook his head. "You said you're out of options. But this could be something profitable." The word hung between us. Profitable. I wanted to laugh, to refuse him outright. But then he added, "I know 2 men who'd pay well for just 1 night. 2 men. 1 night." My breath caught, and my pulse raced. "How much?" I asked, my voice barely audible. His grin told me everything I needed to know. It would be more than I had ever made in a week, maybe even a month. I hated myself for considering it, but desperation has a way of silencing pride. "1 night," I said finally. "That's it." "Good girl," he said again, and this time, the words made me shiver. The next evening, I barely recognized myself in the mirror. The dress Mr. Harris had chosen for me was tighter, lower cut, more revealing than anything I had ever worn. My reflection looked like a stranger, one who was braver, bolder, and far more dangerous than I felt. "You look perfect," he said from the doorway. "They're going to love you." A knock at the door made my stomach drop. I opened it slowly, and there they were, 2 men with calm, steady eyes that didn't waver as they stepped inside. What happened that night is harder to explain than it is to describe. Yes, it was overwhelming. Yes, it was more than I expected. But what unsettled me most wasn't the fact that I let it happen, it was how part of me wanted it. Their presence consumed me, their attention left me feeling powerful and exposed at the same time. Every glance, every word, every touch was a reminder that I was no longer invisible, no longer ignored. I should have felt ashamed. I should have felt used. But instead, I felt alive, desired in a way I hadn't felt in years. For hours, I let myself get lost in that feeling, forgetting my debts, my struggles, my fear of tomorrow. And when the night was over, as I lay between them catching my breath, a quiet, dangerous thought whispered through me. I had gone into this believing it was just survival. Just desperation. Just a deal. But now, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And worse, I didn't want to.